This is Up North News Radio. I'm Pat Kreitlow on this Monday, August 14th, 2023. Got a lot to tell you about today, including Ron Johnson's latest rant about COVID being pre-planned by unnamed elites. President Biden is getting set to visit Milwaukee to troll the Republican presidential candidates before they come next week. Cherita Booker will tell us about the most clicked, most watched stories on our various social media sites, and much more coming up. Our radio show will get started at 6:06. We'll see you then. Yellow. Oh, yeah. Um, the I'm sorry. What do you want? The Google Doc for this morning? That's been shared with you. You need it again? Oh, put the StreamYard link in. Okay, Kate, be right there. Okay. Let's see. Yes, I can see how that would be important.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, here we go.
Yep.
All across Wisconsin from Civic Media, this is Up North News Radio. Now, live from our Lake Wissota studio, here's the founding editor of Up North News, Pat Brightlow.
Well, hey there, Wisconsin. Good morning. It's Monday. Welcome to the state of Wisconsin Sense from the rainy shores of Lake Wissota, where that rain is beautiful. It makes it a beautiful day up north on this August 14th, 2023. Nice to have you along. 62 degrees up here in Chippewa Falls on our home base, 93.5 The Tap. Folks listening to the Shaw in the Waukesha, Milwaukee area, you're at 63 degrees. Listeners to the Eagle in La Crosse, it's 67 there. 66 in Oshkosh, 62 in Baraboo. Here's what's on tap this morning. Ron Johnson. I know. I should probably just leave it at that. And I keep saying we're going to kind of ignore him, but we shouldn't. There's always a point where you go, you can't ignore this. You have to let people know when your U.S. Senator is claiming that the COVID pandemic was pre-planned by an unnamed group of elites or something like that. We'll play a very tiny audio clip just so you know what's out there. We'll have Cherita Booker along to review the most clicked on stories all across our social media sites. We'll visit with Dr. Kristin Lyerly. We'll visit with Salina Heller, who, everybody's familiar with the demolition derby with the cars. How about for farm machinery? Well, in Salina's hometown, the county fair there, their biggest crowd draw is the Combine Demolition Derby. Yeah, farm combines. We'll talk about that. Also, she did a story on a floating circus that goes down the Mississippi River. And Civic Media News Director Terry Bell has 3 things to know to start the week. And so the week, ready or not, is underway. I might emphasize the not here. It's one of those Monday mornings where you go, did I finish this? Did I do that? Poor Mr. Zommers. It was, I'm guessing it was like a comedy when he comes around the corner and finds his way to work is blocked by, was it a construction crane there, Aaron, that you were dealing with?
Yes, there was a construction crane at the ripe hour of like 5:35, 5:40 in the morning, sitting and turning around in the street for 10 minutes.
Look, I've got a railroad crossing near here, so I totally get that can happen at the worst possible time. And
it's dark outside. Come on.
I know. And so what are the odds? And of course, it happens on a Monday morning when we're all rushing to get in and get things set up for the work week. But look, we are here, so you're safe. And whatever that crane is going to be used for, I hope they have a productive day, despite the dark and the rain.
I hope so too.
Back to the rain. I mean, it is, I don't know that people have been this happy to have a rainy Monday in quite some time. Because again, it kind of lingered. Remember last week we had some rain that kind of lingered, and we were right on the edge of it here in western Wisconsin. And for some of us, it never quite got there. Well, we're watching this blob very slowly come across Minnesota yesterday. And you could just see everybody with their fingers out, doing that, come on, sign. And it finally got here about, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And it's just a nice, slow, steady rain, which is just what you need after a very drought-like summer in many places across Wisconsin. So we are very happy to see the rain, at least on this Monday. Hopefully nobody's weekend plans were dampened too much. There was quite the storm that came through Friday evening, thunderstorm that brought some heavy winds with it. We were in La Crosse at the time, visiting friends, and so we didn't get the brunt of it in La Crosse, but our house sure did up here in Chippewa Falls. It was kind of came from the northwest, and our north face of the house is what faces the river and Lake Wissota here. And there clearly must have been quite a blast of wind that came with it, because I mean I'm not, I think it's a Yiddish word, and I don't really consider myself Yiddish, but we use the word schmutz a lot. There was all kinds of, we just were getting this schmutz off the house, little bits of leaves and other vegetation that was just looked like a buckshot had been just blasted the house with all of these little things. So we had to sweep it off and blow it off and get all the junk off of the patios and things like that. A couple of limbs came down, nothing of any substantial size. Hopefully things weren't too bad in your neck of the woods, because again, we're not looking for wind damage. I mean, it was such that I'm very thankful that my dock out on the lake there has several wooden sections, and I always tie them down kind of with these zip tie things. And I'm glad I did, because the wind snapped a couple of them and blew the sections up on the dock. Thankfully none of them floated away, but it looked like the boat was pushed forward a little bit, but again, not a lot of damage, thankfully, and hopefully enough rain here that we're going to salvage the crops that are growing all around parts of Wisconsin. At least that's our goal here. So we'll, I think, if memory serves, Dr. Lyerly, didn't she say last week she was going to be camping this week, early this week, someplace around here? So if, I know she's been out of town, if she calls in this morning, we'll find out if that's the case, because again, you can love the rain, but you don't have to love camping in it. You have to have some amazing gear if you do. But if that's the kind of hardy soul she is, then fine. We'll bring that on. We'll keep her around for some conversation. We'll find out what's in Hometown Health later this week. And of course, we'll do our regular daily history lesson and music break, and so much more coming up on this Monday morning here on Up North News Radio. I'm Pat Kreitlow. Thanks for being here wherever you're listening around Wisconsin on this nice Monday. When you're here, you're up north. We'll be right back. How's my volume coming in?
I think it's good.
Okay.
I finally have a headphone output in the same room.
Wow.
It's really noisy, though. So there's just a loud hissing in the background, but at least I can control the volume.
Oh.
But yeah, I was so close to being here, and then the line wasn't long, or else I would have turned a different way. So I must have gotten there just as they started.
All right. Wow. Do you have the bumper tune and the Ron Johnson clip from, was it in Dropbox?
Oh, yes.
There? Okay.
And Cherita Booker.
Yep. So I'm going to do the Brewers update, and then when I give the usual Oshkosh and Richland Center, I'll cue you to start the Cherita tape, and then I'll come out of that with the Ron Johnson rant.
Sounds good.
Okay. Carlos Santana, don't you dare change your evil ways. Of course, we're talking about the new Milwaukee Brewers acquisition, not the legendary guitarist, but still, our Carlos Santana hit a 3-run homer, and Freddie Peralta pitched 6 scoreless innings to help the Brewers beat the White Sox 7-3 on Sunday and complete a 3-game sweep. Christian Yelich added a 2-run single for Milwaukee, which pushed its National League Central Division lead to 3.5 games after the Cubs fell in Toronto. The sweep over the Sox was Milwaukee's first against the Southsiders since the start of the 1986 season. The Chicago trip was the beginning of a long road trip that now takes them out west. Then off day today, then 3 night games against the LA Dodgers, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then they head down to Texas for 3 against the Rangers this weekend. So with the Dodgers and Rangers both doing fairly well this year, it was good to get that sweep in Chicago, rack up those wins on the road where you can. Again, those will be late games after 9 p.m. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Listeners to Civic Media stations in the Fox Valley and Richland Center can hear those games. Oshkosh Air Support, 98.3, 1100 a.m. And news from the center and Richland Center, 107.7 and 1450 a.m. Here now is Cherita Booker, social media manager for Up North News. You can find all of her posts and the work that she does on behalf of all of us here by going to Up North News WI on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Cherita, how are you?
Good, Pat. How are you?
I'm good. I know a lot of people are starting to bemoan the fact that the calendar is ticking away here and we're into mid-August, and I guess Christmas will be here next week. But no, it won't, folks. There's still time to do summery things. And as we look at some of the posts that have been, clicked on and viewed and read, first one is about the classic summer activity, the drive-in movie.
Yes. So we had a map of 6 Wisconsin drive-ins to add to your summer bucket list. Turn that into a map. And some of those driveways or drive-ins include Skyway Drive-In Theater in Fish Creek, Big Sky Twin Drive in the Dells, the Milky Way downtown in Franklin. And that map had over 1,300 shares and almost 300 comments.
And
Nancy Larkin.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No. You go ahead. What's those comments? Tell me about them.
Nancy Larkin commented, "If this is for real, I'm going to have to make a trip back home just to go to one." So yes, Nancy, this is for real. Come on back home. There were also many comments where people said, "What about Highway 18 Theater in Jefferson and Moonlight Drive in Shawano?" So many comments. So
I was
must be a fan favorite.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is the Highway 18 one. Apparently that one is very well regarded based on that. And then I see other comments like, people calling out each other going, "Hey, can we do this? Can we go to this one in Franklin or, add this one to my bucket list?" So, once again, when we give people just a little nudge on where you could find something, they come up with even more ideas and they start filling in their calendar. But how about for a nice Milwaukee girl like you? Any drive-in theaters close or ones that you've been to?
Franklin is the closest one to me, but I have never been to one and I feel ashamed.
Oh, no. I mean, put that on your list for eventually getting over to Franklin.
I definitely will.
All right, let's turn ahead to our next story. Again, a lot of comments, a lot of clicks. Some of them are lighthearted, but this one much more on the serious side, noting that as we continue to discover more about the Trump administration and what was going on in the aftermath of the 2020 election, things could have gotten really ugly. And I think this latest story just showed us how close we came to even more chaos in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, so Jeffrey Clark, a top Justice Department official under Trump, was prepared to use the Insurrection Act of 1807 to deploy the U.S. military and stop any public protest that might have happened if Trump stayed in office after the 2020 election. So this evidence was found in Trump's indictment, where he was charged with conspiracy to defraud the United States for trying to overturn the election. That post had over 700 likes and comments. False DB19 commented, "Lock him up." Annie Lou Joy commented, "Yep, people read the indictment."
Yeah, and of course, there's always Trump defenders on theirs too, as is everybody's right. But I think the one comment you just said is the best one. Read the indictment. If you are, if you're a Trump supporter, and you certainly have every right to be, but read it before you dismiss it. And then let's talk about what's in it, what's been discovered. Again, not by any of Trump's enemies, not by Democrats, but by the people who were close to Trump at the time. All right, let's go lighter again. And in a way, we're going back to the Barbie movie, but not exactly, but in color, if nothing else, as we passed along a couple of cool photos from somebody out there.
So a roseate spoonbill was spotted in Wisconsin for the first time in 178 years. The burn was seen around Green Bay, and people gathered to take photos. And it's like a pinkish bird. It looks kind of similar to a flamingo, but smaller, and it has like a long, extended beak. So that post got over 500 likes and shares on Instagram and Facebook. So people were really interested in that. Holly Johnson commented and said, "I hope he knows how to get home soon." And Queen Love 80 said, "It looks like a part flamingo to me." To me too, Queen Love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like something, that you would have seen Barbie pass by in the movie or something. But again, it just goes to show you never know what you're going to find here. We are right on a migratory path for all kinds of birds, and big thanks to the folks out there who are heads up taking pictures and allowing folks like us to get those posted on our social media sites. So if you have interesting photos or story ideas, things that would make a good map graphic about things to do in Wisconsin, you've got ways to reach us. Head over to the social media sites, put down some comments, send us an email, and Cherita Booker is certainly part of the team that's going to put all that together. Cherita, thanks for kicking off our week. Have a wonderful day.
You too, Pat. Thanks.
All right, and more about Up North News, not just the stories that you find on social media, but also the daily newsletter that you can sign up for. Kristin Lyerly will tell us more tomorrow morning at 6:30 about things that she's working on in the future. But to let you know today, if you were a subscriber to the newsletter, you'd also learn about how there could be folks getting a new area code in parts of south central Wisconsin. She also has my story in there about things that we're watching for this week, including that major overhaul of liquor laws in Wisconsin. It goes before a legislative committee this week, and we'll kind of do a reset on the debt ceiling fight in Congress, because, that never truly got resolved. It was basically putting the pin back in the grenade, and now come the negotiations for a new budget and the potential for a government shutdown this fall looming out there. So that and much more in our daily newsletter. Sign up for it at UpNorthNewsWI.com. But back to the here and now of Up North News Radio. Our studio number is 844-967-2789. If you'd like to join us for any of the subjects we're discussing today or switch gears on us, you can email us as well, radio@UpNorthNewsWI.com. All right, let's get Ron Johnson out of the way. He went on another one of his fear-mongering, laced with falsehood rants on Friday morning, telling Maria Bartiromo, a fellow cultist at Fox News on COVID conspiracies, that COVID was pre-planned by unnamed elites with the goal of taking away human rights. Let's listen to just about a 30-second snippet of this 2.5-minute unhinged rant.
We are going down a very dangerous path, but as a path that is being laid out and planned by an elite group of people that want to take total control over our lives. And that's what they're doing bit by bit. They do it by increasing massive government spending, increasing the size of government, takeover of the WHO, and they really risk taking away all of our sovereignty. People have to awaken to the dangers of the moment. This is all pre-planned by an elite group of people. That's what I'm talking about. We're up against a very powerful group of people here, Maria.
Just always about the powerful group of people that are against us. Ron Johnson is the powerful group of people. He's one of the wealthiest men that represents a group of Americans in the United States Congress. As a U.S. senator, as one of the wealthiest senators, he is as elite as it gets. He has power, he has responsibility, and he chooses to use that responsibility to continue to lie, as he did later in that rant about the COVID vaccine, and then to say that everything that has come since has been pre-planned about taking away human rights. Keep in mind, he never mentioned a single person who's in this shadowy elite group that has this amazing influence over the nation. He suggests no motive for wanting to take control of our lives and our freedoms, but he says they're accomplishing it bit by bit through massive government spending and increasing the size of government and taking over the World Health Organization. When others could quite rightly argue the responsibility of government working on behalf of all of us is to help us in times of crisis, like a global pandemic, like something that has killed more than 1 million Americans and cratered the economy for a time. So, of course, there was massive government spending. The alternative to that is mass poverty, that the economy doesn't recover or recovers far more slowly. Is that what Ron Johnson wanted? Did Ron Johnson want a much slower recovery? It would make sense that more people would then suffer and have to take whatever kind of work they can get, because that's exactly what we saw from Republicans in the Wisconsin legislature during this past week, when they worked on yet another bill to punish people who are unemployed and restrict how much they could get in unemployment benefits while they are in between jobs, so they can keep paying the rent and feeding their kids and putting gas in the car. But apparently Republicans in the legislature want you to just take the next job that comes up. No questions asked whether you could do better for pay, better for benefits, better for working conditions. You have no time to shop around. You take whatever this next job is, and that's it. That seems to be what Republicans there and Republicans in Congress want, because all they can do is continue to knock on people when they face circumstances where they are suddenly unemployed. This massive government spending Ron Johnson and Republicans talk about is nothing more than government using our tax dollars to take care of our own, rather than push that money from us up to higher income levels, which is what Ron Johnson has consistently supported, and it's what legislative Republicans have consistently supported. We could have had a bigger state income tax cut in this last legislative session, but legislative Republicans wanted more of your money being pushed up to higher income brackets. Governor Evers is asking them to come back this fall and try again. But again, in the name of what they consider, quote unquote, massive government spending, that's what it is if it goes to you, not if it goes to the people at the highest income brackets. So that's a look at what Ron Johnson and his state brethren have been up to over these past few days. Take a break here. More coming up right after this break, including about President Biden making a trip to Wisconsin tomorrow, doing a little bit of trolling ahead of the Republican debate in Milwaukee. We'll be back. You're Up North.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
It's Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have my equipment, so I'm trying to figure out how to make this work. All
I was
good.
almost late because when I was a couple blocks away, there was a crane turning around in the middle of the road for 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Yep. Why is it even out? It's dark outside. I don't know.
Things that you cannot plan for in the
Yeah.
world. Yeah. Looks better. I need to be taller. Oh,
Oh, my, what's going on here?
hi.
Hi. What doing?
I am figuring out how to do right now in a new place.
How to do now in a new place. Okay.
Yes, without all of the normal stuff, because every time I go somewhere, I forget something. And this time it was my AirPod. So I'm on my phone instead of my computer.
Oh, okay. Seems like a kind of a shaky signal we got going on there.
If I do something about it, hold on.
How about you want to turn your video off for just a second and we'll check that for a minute? Okay, let me go back to this. All right. You want to say a sentence or two? Oh, no. Are you there? Why don't you try disconnecting and coming back up, and maybe there's just something in the line there. Let's see. Oh, there she
Can you hear me now?
kind of is again. Oh, now I heard that. I hear that. So, I don't know. You must be in a different place.
Can you
with
hear
different-
us?
Can you hear us all right? Oh, no. Okay, well, you should say something quick then here.
Something quick then here.
Hey, that sounds...
Okay, cool.
That sounded better. Okay, let's try that.
I think I should be good.
Okay, good. And we are back in 15 seconds.
I wake up every morning and tell myself, good morning, gorgeous. Sometimes you gotta look in the mirror and say, good morning, gorgeous.
Okay, well, we've established that there's enough of a connection between here and I think Hibbing, Minnesota, to have her hear one of her favorite songs. So there you go, Kristin, Lyerly, good morning.
I'd like to send that song out to my 2 Monday morning buds, Aaron and Pat. Good morning, gorgeous.
Aww. She's so full of it. Good Lord. Okay. You have had a busy few days here. I think last we saw you, social media-wise, you were somewhere in Wrigley Field cheering on one Bruce Springsteen.
Oh my gosh. Bruce Springsteen is 74 years old, and he rocked that stage for 3.5 hours. The audience was getting tired because we were just like singing and dancing, and the audience is old, so we were all wanting to sit, and he just kept going and going. It was just a beautiful thing. And we were at Wrigley. I'd never been to Wrigley Field before.
Nice. Well, I think you found the better way to see it, rather than having to watch the Cubs play baseball. So good on you. But I think the neighborhood's still pretty nice. There's quite a few watering holes around there and, people in a good mood.
Quite a few. It was a little chaotic the way that they had it fenced off, which is apparently not the way it normally is. So it just didn't have that same kind of baseball vibe. I really would like to go to a Brewers game there.
Oh, that would be interesting. Yeah, it gets a little crazy. So yeah, we could definitely do that for you. All right, so you enjoyed the concert. Where does one, when you're at Wrigley, seeing something like that? I mean, is it like an hour and a half to get to wherever your hotel is, or things like that? It just got to be crazy traffic.
Oh, Pat.
Oh, what?
We biked there.
Of course you biked there. Of
Yeah.
course you did. Okay.
We biked from the northern part of Lakeshore Drive, and we just wove in and out of traffic. We went straight up to Wrigley, locked our bikes up, walked right in. It was fantastic. We did this at the Packer games too. If you've got two wheels, just get there.
Yeah, the Packer game, that makes sense. But, we're talking late night Chicago traffic after more than a couple of people have been imbibing. That sounds like, watching a clip from the French Connection or something with the weaving in and out under the elevated tracks,
Yeah, we did some of that, but we had lights on our bikes. And, we were smart. People aren't moving super fast. It's not like freeway speeds. So you just have to take it easy. There are lots of folks out and, you just have to be smart.
Okay. Well, good. Well, then from there, you managed to get up to
Oh, Pat froze.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it sounds like he's coming. Oh, there we go.
Oh, here you go. Boy. So now I'm the one with the internet woes.
This affects us all of us who are in rural areas.
Could we please get the broadband done faster? Anyway.
Oh, my gosh.
So anyway, you found yourself up in northern Minnesota, and if you don't follow Kristin's social media account, it's called Kristin for Wisconsin, and she spells it Kristin, Kristin for Wisconsin. And I think that's the most recent picture I saw up there was the hospital where you were working at. The window is facing just the right way to the east to catch rainbows, right?
Yeah, we had a beautiful rainbow the other day, and I delivered a rainbow baby. And do you know what a rainbow baby is?
No, what?
It's not a member of the LGBTQIA community, at least as far as we know. But a rainbow baby is a baby that comes after a loss. So rainbow babies are often fraught with frustration and fear. And there are just so many emotions that go into pregnancy anyway. But when you've experienced a loss and then you have a subsequent baby, it's just a really special and unique event. So, to have a rainbow baby while a rainbow is in the sky was really special.
That is nice. Yeah. And it, again, underscores something you've talked about, and that is that so many times when a pregnancy needs to be terminated, it's because there's something tragic going on about a wanted pregnancy. And I'm going to be doing an interview on a Chicago radio station later today where we're going to be talking about that and how that Dane County judge, ruled, I think rightly in this motions hearing, that this 1849 statute is not about abortion as we think of it, but rather as feticide. And then since you and I talked last, Attorney General Josh Call has put up a motion asking the judge to basically say, we don't need any more oral arguments. Let's just go ahead and finish this thing since we have a pretty good feeling how you're going to rule on this. I would imagine you would like to see this advance along now.
It would be so great to restore access to fundamental health care for women in Wisconsin. And that's what this judgment would do. So we saw it come out of Dane County Court. As you said, Pat, this law applies to feticide, not consensual abortion. And if everyone agrees, then we'll be able to restore access to comprehensive reproductive health care in Wisconsin, exactly what people need and deserve. And it's a step in the right direction. It's not the answer. It's a step in the right direction because we've got so much work to do on health care. Can I get a hallelujah from the crowd?
Hallelujah. And may I add, this is far from a done deal, as you will still have some of the same members of Congress who said it should be a state-by-state issue, states' rights. They're the same ones now pushing for a national abortion ban. Now, obviously, it's not going to pass while Joe Biden is sitting in the White House, but the point being, they're not going to stop trying. However, this particular case, ends.
But Hunter Biden.
But Hunter Biden. Oh. Okay.
I just went out to the lobby.
Thanks for triggering. Thanks for triggering me. Here comes the media rant. Oh, here comes the media rant. And I'm going to start by picking on Chuck Todd, but it could just as easily be so many other people in the media who just love that they have something to both sides now. That, Hunter Biden. So we can talk about Trump's thing and we can talk about Hunter Biden, which is the difference between vehicular homicide and a parking ticket. And yet you're going to talk about both cases the same way, like, this is really going to be trouble. No, it's really not trouble. If Hunter Biden broke the law, he should be punished. End of story. When are folks going to say the same thing about Donald Trump? That's all I want to know. When are you going to say the same thing? That once it's proven, because I assume it will be proven, but you go and say if it's proven he broke the law, he should be punished. Why is that so hard to get that out of some people's mouths, Kristin?
Because we have people like Senator Ron Johnson who are continuing to push this false agenda and use it as a distractor. They can't get down to business. They can't do the work of the people. They can't solve problems because they just want to win.
Yeah. And so you've got a case now where, Trump is been warned by a couple of different judges not to say too much, not to do anything that would, intimidate witnesses or taint the jury pool. And there he was again over the weekend, putting up things, including retweeting a post with false information about U.S. federal judge Tanya Chutkan, who's hearing this newest case about overturning the election. Now, some would say, well, he's insulting the judge and he's insulting prosecutors. That's not the same as, witness tampering, so they'll probably let it go. I know plenty of other people say, wait, that wouldn't happen for any of us. I'm pretty sure, Kristin, even if you told people that you had, patients waiting in labor, I think if you insulted a judge on social media, you shouldn't be surprised if you're going to have to find somebody else to do your work because you're going to spend some time in the pokey.
It's exhausting and it's effective because people are tired, have been tired of all of these shenanigans. It's just, honestly, there's so much happening in the world right now. And there are so many other things that we could be doing, that we could be working together to fix, that frankly, Pat, I just don't even want to talk about Trump anymore. I just want to pretend that he doesn't exist. And I think that would be the thing that takes the air out of his balloon.
Oh, of course it would. And he knows that. He knows that if he can keep the outrage machine going. But you have to look at the real issues behind it because, we already had recently somebody in Utah who was shot and killed by the FBI after he was making threats about assassinating President Biden when he stopped there recently. And, there's plenty of other people who hear Trump do these things. And, again, they're saying, well, let's just wait. And, if he undermines evidence in court, that's another matter. I would contend, again, Kristin, while we're exhausted talking about him, I think that I believe that he is inciting violence. This is a guy who on January 6th, when the Secret Service refused to take him back to the Capitol, he said, those are my people. They're not going to hurt me. In other words, he knew he had incited mob violence, and he has no problem inciting that now on social media. If God forbid, something tragic had happened in Utah last week while the president was visiting, don't think for a moment, that Trump would be saying anything other than, well, I guess he had it coming, or something like that. There is a demonstrable case that this guy should be allowed nowhere near social media because of the violence he can incite. But that's my opinion.
Yeah. What was it that Martin Luther King said? Martin Luther King Jr., the arc of justice is long, but it bends towards, I can't remember the end of it. I'm so bad at remembering things like this. It's in other words, it's going to take a while, but hopefully we are going to end up with the solution that needs to happen, which is Trump being held accountable for his ridiculous, horrible, harmful behavior.
I hope so. And I want to say as well, give credit to President Biden, whose basically response to all of this has been to return the trolling. The president is coming to Milwaukee tomorrow. And it's not that there's, Wisconsin's a pivotal state and everything. But let's be honest, the reason he's coming to Milwaukee tomorrow is that the next week, all of the Republican presidential candidates will be there. And so why not get there ahead of time? And, they're all going to want to try to say, oh, Bidenomics is bad. I like that he's embracing Bidenomics and saying, how about that $1 billion I just put into broadband expansion in Wisconsin?
I love it. The more we talk about the good things associated with Bidenomics, because, let's be very honest, we have not experienced the recession that everybody was forewarning us about because of President Biden's smart fiscal policy. We're feeling it and inflation is happening, but it's so much better than what other countries are seeing right now.
Oh, yeah. And back to the presidential campaign, I have to say, our sister publication, Iowa Starting Line, covers all the presidential candidates and has for many years as they come in and get ready for the Iowa caucuses. Well, the Iowa State Fair was this past week. And Ty Rushing is an award-winning reporter for Iowa Starting Line. He's the president of the Iowa Association of Black Journalists. He's funny. He's whip smart. And he got kicked out of prevented from going into a Ron DeSantis event by armed deputies because DeSantis's people didn't want him in there. That's never happened to an Iowa Starting Line reporter. Every presidential candidate is like, yes, come in. I want to talk to everybody. Ron DeSantis is the first one that's been like shutting things off to the media and wanting only to talk to, just the few people in the room that can give him money or something. That's a tough way to win a presidential race.
That's so weird. I mean, Ron DeSantis is usually so kind and accepting to Black people.
Yes, of course he is. That gets us to the other topic of, thank you, Aaron, gets us to the topic of Ron DeSantis, continually trying to end any honest teaching of Black American history in Florida. But that's not the only place that it's happening. Arkansas became the latest state over the weekend, just 2 days before the start of the school year, to make an announcement that they were canceling an advanced placement class that included, a study of Black history and slavery and civil rights and things like that. Just the latest state to do this. And somebody on social media said quite rightly, I think this should be a bigger topic. This continued, essentially, white nationalist, action that's being taken by Republicans at the state level. It should concern a lot more people.
It should. And it taps into racism and our real inability to deal with racism on a fundamental level across the country. But when these nodes pop up in these places, they become those hot spots where we have to address them, and we have to do it in a rational, logical, peaceful way.
So nice of Kristin to stick around and do some of the headlines with me. And we promise after this break here, we'll get back to some lighter topics, including how Dr. Lyerly is going from the dry comfort of a hotel room to a leaky, rainy tent for the rest of this Monday. We'll describe that and also do a whole lot of celebrity birthdays. That's all coming up right after this break as part of our daily history lesson. We'll be back here up north. Thank you, Aaron, for the save on the bumper music.
Yep.
And the save on the quote. I'm so bad at quoting people. I want to quote people, and I should know this quote by heart, but I don't.
I wouldn't have had it either.
Ask me a trivia question about Duran Duran, though, and I'll be like...
Yeah. Yes. I mean, we're right there.
Oh, my gosh. There's so much happening in the world right now.
So much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Got a music trivia thing here for you in a minute.
Oh, I'm ready. When do you think Georgia's going to happen?
When do I think Georgia's going to happen? You know what? I'm still not convinced it's going to happen, simply because, it's just today that she's starting to present her case to a grand jury, and the grand jury has to have a majority vote to issue charges. And I know nothing about the jury, but it's entirely possible that sometime this week we go, shocking news out of Georgia. A grand jury has declined to, vote for charges against Trump. I could totally see it happening because it's Georgia.
Mm-hmm. Which isn't all that different than Wisconsin.
No. Yep.
It's going to be an interesting fall 2024 for Georgia, Wisconsin, and Arizona.
God,
that is for sure.
I'm wondering how interesting I want it to be.
You don't get to choose.
I want to enjoy how interesting it is from an island to someplace.
Just get your surfboard and just ride it.
I've seen me do it. I'll do it again. All right, here we go.
I'll pay for you. I'll pay for you. I'll pay for you.
That, of course, anybody older than age 50 would know that that's Seals and Crofts. Dash Crofts was born on this day in 1940. 83 years ago. He, along with the Seals end of it, was Dash Crofts and Jimmy Seals. Do you know who Jimmy Seals is from Seals and Crofts?
No.
Actually, let me put it this way. You know his brother, Dan Seals.
Oh, he also is a yacht rock guy.
Of England Dan. England
And
Dan and John Ford Coley. The
Coley.
England Dan is Dan Seals, brother of Jimmy Seals of Seals and Crofts.
I did not know that, but that will never leave my head.
Right. Just like that quote about the arc of the moral universe.
That leaves my head quickly.
Okay. But if we give you Duran Duran lyrics, you're good with that, right?
Forever.
Okay.
Stuck in there.
All right. I got a lot of birthdays here, so let's just rattle through these. Everybody who saw the movie Oppenheimer, I did it again. The Midwest Ope. Everybody who saw Oppenheimer. Everybody who saw Oppenheimer should know that Frank Oppenheimer was born on this day in 1912. So that would have been, 111 years ago. He passed away in 1985. Of course, David Crosby, Crosby, Stills, Nash. He was born this day in 1941, but passed away earlier this year. Steve Martin is 78 years old today.
Wow.
Race car
He's
driver.
had white hair forever.
Oh,
When did
yeah.
Steve Martin actually become a white-haired man?
I think always. I think he went from blonde to white immediately. Yeah. Race car driver Rusty Wallace is 67. Actress Marcia Gay Harden, 64. Magic Johnson, basketball player, 64. Actress Halle Berry. How old do you think Halle Berry is?
She's 60.
No, 57. See, I thought you'd say 50 or something like that. But 57.
Trying to be realistic.
Okay, all right. And actress Mila Kunis, 40 years old today. So another one of those kids from the 70s show, turning 40. All right, it's time for a Lyerly Kreitlow classic, the number one song this day in 1965.
Babe, I got you, babe. I got you, babe.
Now, I don't have anything to say about the movie Groundhog Day. This is actually the song itself hit number one on the charts on this day in 1965.
You are the Sonny to my Cher, Pat.
Watch out for that tree. On this day in 1935, President Franklin Roosevelt signed the Social Security Act, creating a government pension system for the retired. So Social Security has a birthday today. Is 88 years old?
Boy, and that wasn't an easy act to get signed either. That was,
know.
challenging from the beginning and for the first few years, certainly. But people sure love it now because it's a game changer.
Consistently undermined in its time and still under threat today from people like Ron Johnson who claim otherwise, but their actions speak louder than words. All right, finally, let's see. It was on this day in 1985. This one's about a business decision involving Michael Jackson, heard here singing with Paul McCartney.
Every night she walks right in my dreams since I met her from the start. I'm so proud I am the only one who is special in her heart. The girl is mine.
All right, before McCartney comes in, I'll tell you that 3 years after their duet, Paul McCartney had advised Michael Jackson that you should invest in publishing. Well, on this day, Jackson did and made a winning bid of $47.5 million for the rights to over 250 Lennon-McCartney Beatles songs. It was a great investment for Michael Jackson, but it killed their friendship. Go figure.
Yeah.
Awkward.
This song is kind of awkward, though. I mean, when you listen to the lyrics, like,
What, that they're fighting over a girl?
yeah, the two of them fighting over it's just awkward.
Okay, I guess.
Maybe it's just the girl's perspective.
What's awkward is the bridge in the middle of it, the spoken part. Like, I told you, Michael, she's my forever lover. It's like
It's
it
cringe.
sounds. Yeah, it's kind of cringeworthy. Yes, I admit. Okay, let's let that go then. So you've talked about how much you like biking, you like camping, all these other outdoor activities, and you mentioned last week you were maybe going to be camping for the first part of this week. You sticking to that as I watch the rain continue to pitter patter down outside my window here?
It's going to be a beautiful day in Hibbing, Minnesota, but not so great on Lake Wissota, sadly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we packed up the pop-up and we're taking it out to Lake Wissota, and we're going to just enjoy a few beautiful days. Tomorrow and Wednesday are going to be lovely.
So what I need to know about that then is if I look outside and notice my pontoon missing, it's simply been commandeered. It's been borrowed. And I just see like a kayak, because I could see you could clearly kayak from Lake Wissota State Park, upriver a bit to my place. I could see you guys pulling that off. And I just see a kayak and, the pontoon's gone, and maybe you leave me a 6-pack of something as payment. Or
We're bringing old fashions. We're going to beach and bring old fashions. That's the plan. Rent a canoe.
Okay.
Paddle over, get out, bring old fashioned. We'll be on your deck at like 4:00.
Okay. It doesn't look like the rain is going to linger. It looks like you are going to be able to camp not in the rain, but as you know, there's an alternative campground in our guest room here. So if you and Craigers need the extra space, you know where to find us. But you've camped in the rain before, right?
Uh-huh. Oh, I've been camping my whole life. The pop-up is a giant upgrade from the canvas tent that I grew up with.
Ooh, really?
Remember this? Oh yeah, I remember my parents saying, "Don't touch the sides," but there was no room not to touch the sides because we were little kids in a very small tent.
Oh yeah, I could totally see that. Like, what's this? And you touch it, and down comes the rain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Look, I'm not going to trash campers. I'm just going to say I like dry. I like being in a nice cozy bed. It's just my idea of roughing it is that there's no concierge service in the hotel.
I like contrast because when you camp and you're roughing it and you're dirty and you're out there doing stuff, and then you go back home and you take that shower that feels so amazing, and you get to climb back into your nice, clean, warm bed. It just makes you appreciate all of it.
So you're into depravity. You want to be. Depravity is what powers you. We just have to cut you off from something that you like, and then you enjoy it that much more when you finally get to have it again.
That's how I've been surviving in Wisconsin for the past 12 years.
Which takes us to Hometown Health, which I didn't get to have last week, and now I'm really looking forward to this week. Now that you've deprived us of it, you're gonna be back Thursday for that.
I am. We're going to talk with Jeff Lutzy up in Door County about some of the incredible things they are doing to combat climate change. And it is a game changer. I mean, it's from planting trees to building affordable housing. It's really cool stuff.
All right. That'll be Thursday morning at 7:30. So, we will look forward to that. And when we come back, more in our second hour, including, Kristin, you ever hear of a combine demolition derby?
I haven't.
Okay. Salina Heller's going to tell us what happens at the county fair in her hometown. That's coming up next. You're Up North.
Forever lover, don't you remember? Well, after loving me, she said she couldn't love another. Is that what she said? Yeah, she said it. You keep dreaming. I don't believe it.
Yeah, that's gross.
Excellent cueing. Excellent cueing.
That is pretty skillful there, Aaron, how you got that in right at the last moment.
I know. It's like he knows what he's doing. I didn't give you a hard goodbye because I didn't know if you wanted to hang around for a bit or if you need to get going. I don't know when you're hitting the road.
I can go anytime, so up to you.
Okay. I'm trying to think. I want to make sure I didn't use up all of my... We got through a lot of stuff in that segment. That was wonderful.
I know. It flowed. It was fun.
We had Biden in there. We had Rojo. What else didn't we get? Got my rant on Hunter Biden. Got unemployment. We got Ty kicked out of the DeSantis event. Yeah, I almost got nothing left for this next segment over here. So, what else have I missed news wise? Have you been talking with anybody lately, or have you just been a non-working non-political creature the past few days?
I've mostly been just working. We see a lot of acuity up here. I mean, I feel like every delivery I do is a high risk delivery. And you wouldn't expect that. When I worked in a high resource center, the prevailing thought was that every once in a while things would happen in rural areas. But I mean, I'm sure Sherry has tons of stories. It's emergency C-sections and it's shoulder dystocias and it's like all of these really scary things. I feel like every weekend that I work here, we transport somebody to Duluth or the cities. People are getting sicker, we're needing more services, and we're getting fewer services.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to, I was just looking at the news stories in the Journal Sentinel. Here's one headline. Everybody poops. Wisconsin is a national leader in using it to monitor public health.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that. And, does your buddy Patrick McBride want to come on sometime and talk about that? He likes public health.
Oh, he wouldn't be the right guy, but maybe Pat Remington. We haven't had him on yet. Oh, maybe next week for Hometown Health. Let me put him on the list.
Okay, do that.
So many resources to tap into at the UW. The University of Wisconsin was the first university to become a school of medicine and public health, emphasizing the importance of public health to your personal health.
Yes, I recall you telling us that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Everybody poops.
Everybody poops.
We can talk about poop.
Do you know that I know somebody? I can't say
What?
publicly who worked on my campaign, but her poop is like in that state database of things for tracking like trichinosis or something. She got food poisoning once, and it was such a rare case of whatever she had that her poop is on file with the State Department of Health Services.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, that is a badge of honor.
Imagine that being your claim to fame, in your 30s, that when you were 4 years old, you got so sick,
For anyone watching the stream and eating breakfast, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're sorry, but this is the poop segment, so.
Everybody poops.
Everybody poops, yep.
It's okay.
Yep. Oh, boy. All right, so we got that. It's National Creamsicle Day.
Oh, it's National Something Else Day today. I can't remember what it was. The National.
Navajo Code Talkers Day, World Lizard Day.
Ooh, there's a Navajo Code Talkers Museum in Tuba City where I work.
Did you go to it?
Not yet.
Okay.
I intend to. Tomorrow is National Relaxation Day.
I thought we had one of those already.
Let's just
that was
keep having them.
National Lazy Day. That was it.
Oh. Today is National Financial Awareness Day.
Really?
That's what they say on the Nationals today.
I'm
Love Your Bookshop Day. National Tattoo Removal Day. Ooh, U.S. Victory Day.
I have to look at this what's this, nationaltoday.com, because I go to nationaldaycalendar.com and that one is not on there. So I may have to change my website.
I get an email every day or every Sunday with all the national things coming up for the week.
Wow. Okay.
World Lizard Day.
Yep.
I'm here for World Lizard Day.
Tomorrow is Chant at the Moon Day.
I'm here for Chant at the Moon Day. Aaron, have you ever owned a lizard?
Yeah, my family back at my parents' house, we have a leopard gecko named Simon.
Aww.
And my younger sisters got him at first when he was a baby, but then they did not take very good care of him. And I would see him, like, his cage would be full of poop and whatever and things like that. So I had to go clean it up. And then I was like, he's not opening one of his eyes. This seems like a problem. And I took him into the vet and we had to give him antibiotics and all kinds of stuff. And he ended up having to get a hemipene, so the lizard equivalent of a nut, amputated.
Ooh.
And it ended up not being expensive. So we were like, sure, okay. And it worked out and now he's fine.
How long do geckos live?
Leopard geckos usually like 10-ish years.
Oh,
Can be
wow. That's a
longer.
long time.
See, now we got so many things I have to put them in order. There. Thank you for hanging around.
My pleasure. I'm signing out right now, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
If I look weird on the camera.
No, your camera's off.
Okay.
10 seconds.
All across Wisconsin from Civic Media, this is Up North News Radio. Now, live from our Lake Lesotho studio, here's the founding editor of Up North News, Pat Brightlow.
Welcome back to the second hour of Up North News Radio for this Monday, August 14th. An hour of radio that should come with an advisory for language, because we're going to talk about poop. So
Why? Wait, why? Why is that language? That's not language,
Well-
it's content.
Okay, well, here's an advisory for content. We're going to talk about poop in just a second here. But consider yourself warned. That way you have time to finish breakfast or whatever the case may be. But this is the part where I normally say, on this Monday, August 14th, it's National Creamsicle Day. And I tell you then that I think creamsicles are gross.
I think
But
they're gross too. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, Aaron?
I think it depends. Sometimes they're good, but certainly only one. And even by the end of one, I'm kind of like, so I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, can be just a little too sweet, too rich. But the reason I say I may have to alter how we do this, because as I was telling Kristin during the break here about, the National Day Calendar site that I go to, well, she mentioned a different website that has many more events on it. I think I'm going to have to change the way I prep for this show over here, because the site you went to, which is nationaltoday.com, also tells us that it's National Financial Awareness Day, it's National Love Your Bookshop Day, National Tattoo Removal Day, National Navajo Code Talkers Day, and then they have some celebrity birthdays in there. So I think you have found my new prep website, Kristin. Thank you for that.
I got you, Pat.
But it reminds me to tell the story of how we debate artificial intelligence and whether AI is going to be taking over, the world or not. And the one area I'd like AI to take over is some of my show prep. I'd love to go to a chat GPT and just say, prepare me a report on the historical happenings and the music history and the celebrity birthdays for this day. I have tried it a couple of different times, and what it spits back out is usually wrong. Has birthdays that aren't actually on that day and events and I don't even know how they could get it wrong. I could see missing things, but I feel like I'm the one who's going to end up breaking AI before it really gets off the ground.
Maybe there's some kind of clause you have to put in there to say a real list, as opposed to it just looking at lists of celebrity birthdays and being like, this is something that looks like a list of celebrity birthdays.
I guess so. I'm going to have to work on that because, yes, Kristin.
Is there a little part of you that feels satisfied when it comes up with the wrong information? Because then
more
you
than
can
satisfied. More than satisfied. I mean, come on. At that point, I'm Bobby Fischer beating the chess computer.
Yes.
I mean, God, it reminds me of an episode of Big Bang Theory we were just watching last night about, can Sheldon handle it if somebody is actually smarter than him? Oh, by the way, to that end, being down in La Crosse over the weekend and meeting with some friends after we got done, shooting some pool, and they've got air hockey in their basement, and they pulled out Trivial Pursuit Big Bang Edition.
Oh,
Because
geez.
it turns out they watch Big Bang Theory as much as we do. Thought we'd probably seen every rerun over and over again. And so we had quite the showdown on Big Bang trivia.
Oh, I should get that for my house because my house is the Big Bang Theory.
Yes, it kind of is, isn't it?
All four boys, and I
Yeah.
would be the penny.
Oh, yeah. You are totally the penny. Yep.
Mhm.
Let's see. We're going to say that also coming up this hour, we're going to talk to Salina Heller with her article over at UpNorthNewsWI.com about the Combine Demolition Derby. That is the headline act at her local county fair every year, a county fair that she's worked at for many years. And then as we were looking at what else is new out there, we couldn't help but notice new in the Journal Sentinel is this headline called "Everybody Poops. Wisconsin is a national leader in using it to monitor public health," which I know it's not really a surprise for me and for you, Kristin. Obviously, we talk about public health, but I suppose a lot of people would not appreciate, the depths to which we have to go to, monitor public health.
That would be a tough job, wouldn't it? The poop monitor?
Yes. Again,
Yeah.
there's something. Teach AI to do that. Use your little robot arm to go into samples of municipal wastewater, and then get all the information that can tell us about what is happening out there, and what are we flushing out of our bodies, shall we say?
Wastewater does not lie.
No, not at all. And honestly, wastewater samples turned out to be a very critical part of tracking COVID-19 and its spread. So, Wisconsin is a national leader, but Kristin, as you've told us, Wisconsin was a national leader in public health for quite some time, thanks to your friend Pat McBride.
Pat McBride, Pat Remington, and so many other people at the University of Wisconsin School of Medicine and Public Health. That is the full name of the school. They were the first medical school to brand themselves with an emphasis on public health. And I think that is incredibly innovative for a state like Wisconsin. And it really points out the urgency of public health as an individual health issue.
It is an individual, but also I think it helps underscore the importance of, we're all in this together. That whole rugged individual, don't tell me what to do. No, public health is it's what's underneath hometown health, that what's good for the community can be good for all of us.
Oh, for sure. It's clean water, it's sewage, it's all of those things that we take for granted. Those were the origins of public health. And, while we're talking about poop, can I just give a shout out to Green Bay, the toilet paper capital of the United States?
There you go. That's just the shout out, just the right length. Before we head into a commercial, I see Salina Heller has joined us already, so we'll talk to her about a Combine Demolition Derby and more on this Up North News Radio Monday edition. We'll be back here up north. And there's Ms. Heller. You're here.
I'm here.
Oh, wait a minute. You said that right away. Like maybe there's not a delay. Oh my God, she laughed right away like there's not a delay.
It's good. We've upgraded to a better non-delay system.
Yes. This is amazing. Perfect. And Salina, you've met Kristin, I think, yes?
Once, yes. Nice to see you.
Good morning, you too.
Kristin said she wanted to stick around just because she was not familiar with Combine Demolition Derbies. So we're gonna learn more about that.
I would love to see a video of a Combine Demolition Derby.
Did you take any video, Salina?
I did. Theoretically, it was supposed to be up on our stuff. I haven't seen it, but yes, I did. It's quite the spectacle.
Where did you put the video? Where did you upload it? On Slack or Google Drive?
Well, it should have been on our TikTok page.
Oh, on TikTok. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
But I haven't seen it, so we'll see.
Okay. All righty.
So let me be clear. You did a TikTok of a Combine Demolition Derby.
Yes.
Oh,
so,
good.
Yeah. Can you imagine combines just driving around and smashing up?
Yes, I can actually. Combines go faster than people realize.
Well, yeah, like up to 18, and that's pretty fast.
Oh yeah, yep. I'm seeing it. It's on there. Here it goes.
Oh, can you see it?
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Good,
Oh my goodness, the humanity. Oh my. Oh yeah, it's there. Okay. We'll get going in 15 seconds here.
I'm a God-fearing, hard-working combine driver, hogging up the road on my plower, chug-a-lug-a-lugging 5 miles an hour on my international harvester.
Check this out. Heller already knows the words and is singing along to this. What'd you find, Aaron? Oh, Aaron's taking a phone call. I forgot. We have a weather report that we have to do yet. Honest to goodness, when you get sometimes on these commercial breaks, which you can also watch on our Facebook page, I have forgotten to refill my coffee over here. Now I'm out of coffee. I'm looking up TikTok videos of combine demolition derbies. So we'll come back to Salina Heller and Kristin Lyerly in just a moment. But first, there's some actual business to get to. And I'm the one who's been saying how great it is that, we've been getting some rain, some nice, slow, steady rain throughout the night and the morning. And Jennifer Wachitsky is here from Weatherology now to tell us all about it. Jennifer, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, like you said, some areas of rain this morning, and it's much needed rain. We've been still in kind of that drought and not as much rain as we normally should have by this point of the year. Looks a little on the cool side to start out the work week today for as well for actually much of the Central Plains and Upper Midwest, actually, as that cold front fully pushes through today, lingering in the 60s for most of the listening areas today. A few warmer spots around 70 around Milwaukee and over in Amory as well. Pretty decent chance for those showers and storms across the board today, lingering into the evening hours for most, but drying out around west central Wisconsin tonight. Looks like a marginal risk for severe weather around Waukesha and Milwaukee today and tonight as well, so definitely something that we'll keep you posted on as we get through the day and evening hours tonight. For Tuesday, we'll start to see a warm front push through the state, warming into the mid to upper 70s across the board, still below average for this time of the year. Looks like sunny skies tomorrow as well. Wednesday midweek, warmer with that warm front fully pushing through. Highs in the mid to low 80s for most, lingering around about the upper 70s around Oshkosh, but overall a more average day midweek here on Wednesday. Sunny skies expected, but then a chance for showers and storms come in mainly late Wednesday night for everyone, ahead of a cold front that will come in briefly through Thursday. Thursday, highs drop back into the mid to upper 70s with that very quick cold front. Sunny skies from Wisconsin Rapids westward, including Richland Center and Amory and Baldwin. Then a chance for showers and storms continuing from the previous night for Wausau down to Madison and eastward towards the lake. Then by Friday, another warm front actually starts to come in already. Sunny skies to round out the work week with highs back in the mid to low 80s, again, right where we should be for this time of the year.
Although I got to say, for right now, it's been such a nice thing to give the air conditioning a break and to have the windows open and be so fully enjoyable. Jennifer, thank you so much. Have a great start to the week.
Thanks so much, you too.
All right, there's Jennifer Wachitsky from Weatherology, and back now with Salina Heller, Kristin Lyerly, Aaron Zomers is here as well. And let's see, I was looking at TikTok videos from Salina of the Combine Demolition Derby at the Jackson County Fair. Kristin, have you looked that up yet? I know you couldn't wait to go see it.
I have not, but it's going to be the first thing I do when we get off the air. I'm so excited.
It is insane. Salina, good morning. And it's not a surprise to you because you've worked at the Jackson County Fair since you were, knee high.
That's correct. Yes. My mom worked at the fair in the office. And so I think since I was, in high school or something with her. So I was feverishly selling tickets for all the grandstand entertainment and all that sort of stuff. So I've been working at the fair for many, many years.
And so let's just go back to square one. And it's, again, she's got an article about it over on our website, UpNorthNewsWI.com. But what's a combine demolition derby? I mean, I feel like we know what it is, but I mean, how does this happen? I mean, these are expensive pieces of equipment.
Well, right. You wouldn't think you would take a, $50,000 piece of farm machinery and smash it up, but they do.
But now these are not like, new off the showroom floor. These are, you kind of go hunting for some old ones, right?
Well, right. They become obsolete, after a while as they upgrade and things don't work on them anymore, or you want to get new and improved. So they go to auctions. Usually people with kind of ties to the farming industry, they go to auctions. They look for them anywhere, sitting outside in case some farmer isn't using theirs that's become old. So they buy them and then fix them up. So they have to take the glass out, any headlights or taillights, remove the gas tank and put it in the inside in the grain box. And they just kind of move things around and brace it up a little bit. And then they go into the show and smash each other up and see who can be the last one standing.
And the thing that's so special about it is that it's a real moneymaker for the Jackson County Fair.
Well, that's right. I think at the Jackson County Fair, it's been going on, I think this was the 14th year, and it's becoming bigger and bigger. First, they started out with just 2 combines because it was pretty new at that time. So just 2 combines going at it. And now this year was the biggest ever. They were up to 15. It was 15. And so they had heats of 5. So 5 at one time. And then the winners go on to the feature event at the end. And they have time because the goal is kind of to render them immobile. So they pop the tires or hit the axle so they can't drive anymore. And so then in between, they have to put new tires on. Can you imagine these giant tires? It's not just fixing a tire at the side of the road. It's these giant tires, and they have to replace them so then they can be in the end.
The smile on Kristin's face has just told me that she has found a new way to blow off some steam and some work stress is to find
I'm imagining the pit crew that puts on these new tires, and there's probably never a dull moment as you're watching, the heats. The different heats.
Yes. The heat, yes, of 5.
Oh my gosh.
And
I know.
This year, one tipped over. And luckily one was on the other side of it, so it kind of caught it. But he was pretty much sideways. And so they had to flip him up, and he got back in and he kept going. So
this just
pretty high.
It has an episode of ridiculousness written all over it. And back to the crowd and the money making, what'd you say, 3,500 people buying tickets for that?
Yes. So my job is selling tickets. So it's the line is forever and ever, and it packs the grandstand. And I have to say always, we need more bleachers. We need more bleachers. So they set more bleachers up on the outside, and it's just packed. And so people come from all over, and they put this on their calendar every year. And it's a big event for the fair, and it really helps, with expenses for other things. So it's kind of a twofold: great entertainment, and it helps the fair provide other entertainment too.
Yeah, you get fair, you get the maintenance, the equipment, the computers behind the scenes, all the personnel. That's a great moneymaker for it. So
it is. They're happy with the turnout, and it's one of the biggest in the state.
Is it? Okay. And you had the story. You told the story starting with Jackson County farmer Bill McNulty, right? I mean,
yes.
Here's a guy who's been named part of the Outstanding Farm Family of the Year. Clearly a good steward of the land, but now let's crash up some machinery.
Yeah, so on the first day of the fair, they got this award for the Outstanding Farm Family, and then he was getting his combine ready to go in on Sunday and crash his combine up. He was 64, and he's got grandkids, and they came and watched him, and they were so excited. And then he had his brother in it, and his son, and his nephew. So then at the end, it was kind of down to the wire with a couple other family members. So actually, it was him and his nephew battling it out to be the winner.
Him versus the nephew, and who came out on top?
The 64-year-old Bill McNulty.
Uncle Bill got it. He had to.
Yeah,
good work.
He wasn't giving up. I talked to him afterwards, and I said to his wife, I said, "What did you think was going to happen? Would one kind of give up and be like, okay, I'm going to let you
Bill
win."
would give way to the young fella, and Bill was not having that.
Nope, she said. Nope, I knew both of them were going to show no mercy.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and he was so excited afterwards. He said, "I never won the whole thing before." And he said, "I'm shaking."
See?
It's very cute.
But I'm just trying to envision, you talk about the long line. Of course there's a long line. With you selling tickets, it would be like Dr. Lyerly here selling tickets, because everybody would stop and they'd have this whole conversation like, oh, how are you doing? And how do you ever see Judy anymore? Like they always say to me about our old co-anchor. And with Kristin, it would be, oh, what are those boys up to? You guys would get yelled at for selling the tickets too slowly, but they would, people would come. Yep.
That's all part of it.
Well, yep. And it's always, they know they're going to see me in there every year, and I'm from there. So, yep, you're right. It's kind of a little bit of seeing everybody and saying hi. And, and I see the same people coming through, and yep, my hometown.
It is. And so, again, you can see that on the website. But if you want to watch a video of it, I know it's up on our TikTok account. So look for Up North News on TikTok, and you'll be able to see what is an epic battle. This is one of the heats, right? Because I think I'm seeing 5 combines in there.
Yes, and so that one, that combine that's right there in the front is actually Bill McNulty. And he took off, and then afterwards he said, oh my goodness, I had it in street mode. And so it went the fastest, 18 miles an hour. So when he took off, he was going pretty fast. And he's like, I didn't realize I had it in street mode.
Wait, is that a rule that you can't have it in street mode?
I don't think it's a rule. There are a list of rules, but I don't think that's it. I think you can go 18, and that's okay.
I feel like Bill McNulty needs a nickname, like something, harvesting Bill McNulty. Something it's not coming to mind, but
the harvester.
I'm sure
Yeah.
the harvester.
I could totally see.
He was tearing it up. He was tearing it up in the ring.
Oh gosh, no doubt. All right, I've only left a short time here to talk about one of your other stories, and that was a floating circus that goes down the Mississippi River. You heard about this, and you checked it out?
Yeah, the Flotsam River Circus. So it's kind of they call themselves a troupe on a ramshackle raft, and they float down the river, and they give river performances all along the Mississippi River. So it's happening now until it's like 4 or 5 weeks from now. And so they're coming up this last weekend. They performed in La Crosse, and it's quite an eclectic group of performers, but they're very talented and have a historied past. Each of them do, so they're very good at what they do, and it's really good entertainment. It looks, it's pretty funny. And then they're coming up, I think, this week, August 16th in Prairie du Chien, August 17th in Cassville. So you just pull up a chair along the beach, and it's a free show, and they perform in the river, and then they get done, and then they float down the river, and they're going all the way to Missouri. And that's where they end up. So they started in the cities, and then they go all the way and float down. And if you see this in the river and you think, what in the world is that?
That's fun.
How great is that? But of course, there's no make goods. I mean, because if you don't make the show that day, it's like, well, we'll see you. You always know where the next show is going to be, and it's not going to be upriver.
Nope, they're just floating down, and I mean, people are seeing this, and they literally they stay on this, like, it's a homemade, just a makeshift raft, and it looks like a Huckleberry Finn, and yep. So
from a circus standpoint, Kristin, I imagine your act would be, because you love to bike. You ever see those steel domes? Where they bicycle inside the dome and do like 360s and go around there. Would that be your circus act if you were, if you ran away?
No.
And joined the circus? No?
No.
That's not your thing? Okay.
No. I'd be more like the biker who is pushing you down the river. I'd be the paddle boat person, while actual circus performers were able to be people with talent, were able to do their talent things.
Yes, not like people like me who'd just be the MC. That would be my talent on that. Salina, stick around. We're going to talk about a meteor shower story that you did, and some much more coming up on this Monday, August 14th. Again, you can see these stories and the serious ones that we work on as well over at UpNorthNewsWI.com. And, of course, check us out on social media, too. We'll be back. You're Up North.
I'm my international harvester.
You're dancing.
That's so funny.
Aaron, strong work. Aaron is like the king of the bumper music this
Aaron's
morning and always.
I know, and I felt so bad because I usually try to get things the night before, and I had nothing, so,
Well, I knew you were talking about combines, so I was like, do I know any songs about combines? Yes, I do.
Yes, you do.
That was a good one.
That's crazy. All right. So, Kristin, do you want to hang? Do you got to run? Because
Totally up to
I
you.
got nothing for this segment. This was going to be the all Salina segment, but she was here early, so I wanted to pop her on right away.
Well,
I-
let's
we
keep
can-
chatting. The three
Okay.
of us can keep chatting.
No, that's
We can talk about the chainsaw sculpture.
okay. All right, good. Oh shoot, I didn't do the Brewers thing here. Okay, so let me get back to this.
Did you talk about the Packer game?
No, did not.
We had a Packer game.
That's preseason, but yeah, I know you're right.
I know, but there were takeaways. People looked good.
All right, so I'll do that. All right, chainsaws. Is the meteor shower come and gone, or is it going on?
The peak was over the weekend. It's still happening, but the peak
Okay.
was
How do you say this? Is it Perseid?
Perseid.
Perseid.
Yep. For
Did any of you guys watch it?
Perseus, yes.
Okay.
It was very cool.
Did you see a lot?
Yeah, I only stayed out there for maybe 45 minutes and I saw like 6.
Oh, we saw a few. I think a lot of people were watching for it.
I have some friends who live out on the outskirts of Stoughton, so we had a good place to go where there's not so much light pollution and just lay in the yard.
Nice. Oh, cool. And it was kind of nice out, so
That's the hard part is the light pollution, getting to a place where you have to have a clear night with no light pollution.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Guess who?
Oh, and Salina,
Yes.
don't bang on your desk.
Oh.
You got. Can you hear that? You got a lot of that going on.
Oh,
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
I bet we
Okay.
could have like a total bongo
We've
thing.
got the bongos. Yeah, great. All right. 5 seconds. Here we go. Like sometimes we pick out the bumper music. Sometimes it's a wild card from Aaron, and we're going with disco this morning, Aaron.
Yep, this is Shining Star by Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh,
Because I
he's
knew you'd be
leading us
talking
into
about
the Perseid meteor shower. Very good.
Nice,
All right, we're back
nice.
with Salina Heller from Up North News, Dr. Kristin Lyerly sticking around as well, and Salina's co-host Whiskers, I believe, right?
Yep, Whiskers is here.
Okay, Whiskers, the most patient cat on planet Earth. All right, so before we get to that, I didn't even get to the Brewers game in the last segment, so let me give that a quick update. Carlos Santana had a 3-run homer. Freddie Peralta pitched 6 scoreless innings. The Brewers beat the White Sox 7-3 on Sunday, completed a 3-game sweep, the first time that they have had a 3-game sweep of the White Sox since the start of the 1986 season. Let's see, Christian Yelich had a 2-run single. The Brewers are now up 3.5 games on the Cubs, who lost in Toronto. But now from Chicago, the Brewers are heading out west today. They have 3 night games against the LA Dodgers, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then they head down to Texas for 3 against the Rangers next weekend. And again, you can check out all the Brewers action on Oshkosh Air Support and on News from the Center in the Richland Center area. All right, back to our media shower, which Aaron was saying he caught some of it over the weekend here. Salina, what were you writing about it?
Oh, the Perseid meteor shower. I learned a lot, actually. It was pretty interesting. I talked to a UW Eau Claire physics and astronomy professor, Eric Hendrickson, and he says he explained that it comes from the comet Swift-Tuttle. And since Swift-Tuttle was one of the most recent comets to be in the sky, the Earth passes through the tail of the comet, and the particles left behind are what we go through. And since it just happened not that long ago, the particles haven't dissipated. So it's the dust and debris that the Earth goes through of the tail of this comet, and it hits them, and then they shoot into the atmosphere and burn up, and that's our meteor shower. And he said, we call them shooting stars, but it's actually dust and rock and things that we hit, and it burns up, and that's how we see a meteor shower.
It's basically if a truck were in front of us kicking up, dirt and rocks and everything, and we're we're
romantic.
We're just eating the dust. We're eating the dust of a comet that just
nice.
went by. But did you hear, Kristin, how she made that sound so positive and upbeat? It's the first time we've talked about something in the longest time that didn't involve it smashing into Earth and ending all civilization. We got to send Bruce Willis up, to drill through it or something.
I appreciated Salina's take on it much more than yours, Pat.
Yes. Right.
Also, the name Swift-Tuttle.
Swift-Tuttle.
Just like, it's so cute and like punchy.
Yes.
Yeah, Swift-Tuttle. And yes, and then the constellations in the sky that we look for. So we looked for this. I had a little map of the constellations, if you will, and you look for a W in the sky, and that's Cassiopeia. And then below Cassiopeia is Perseid. And so that's where the Perseid meteor shower, Perseus, and that's where the Perseid meteor shower comes from. And Perseus is kind of looks like a person. And so the meteors look like they're shooting out from Perseus. And he's in the northeast sky. And that's where you look. And then that's where they're supposed to be coming from. We saw a few.
Kristin caught none of that because as soon as you said a W, she went into Bucky mode over here. Was making her little W,
Have you ever used one of those apps that shows the night sky where you can just hold it up to the sky and it shows you where all the constellations are?
I saw that on Emery's iPad from school, and I was like, I said, can we do this? We're not supposed to do anything else, but I saw it on there and I thought, oh, maybe we can just put it on there and then take it off before you have to send it back to school. Cause I thought that was really cool.
Oh, wow.
You can download it for free onto your phone and you just literally hold it up to the sky and it shows you where all the constellations are. Cause I can't see them. I just look up and I see stars. I can't see.
Oh, good. Pattern. So it's not just me. I just look up and I really don't get how, but again, they didn't have TV back then, so this was cheap entertainment. Right. It's like us looking at clouds. Oh, that's a ducky. That's a horsey. It's like you get the same thing with the stars. No, I do the modern version of it. I've got the app where I can track flights that they come over. And, poor Sherry has to hear me say when we see a plane going over, oh, look, that one's going from Singapore to New York.
Wow, that's so nerdy.
That's how I gaze at the sky. And then sometimes because of the bathrooms that are up there, where it's like we're going through their tail and these little particles come down. And no, sorry, I'm mixing up airplane restrooms with comet tails here all of a sudden, but
you might have been able to see it. So we were at actually Ashley for the Arts, and so we were staying, and Emery was there too, and she was like, she knew to look for the W, and so all of a sudden I heard her say, I see the W. Oh. So I think you can.
So I did not realize that it was Ashley for the Arts this past weekend in Arcadia until we started heading down to La Crosse. And we usually take 93 down, most of the way to La Crosse, which cuts through Arcadia. But I mean, we got just outside the city limits of Eau Claire. And it was a slow single file. And the whole time we're thinking, are we following a tractor? Is there a funeral procession?
Oh boy.
And finally, I connected the dots. I'm like, this is a long line of traffic snaking into Arcadia, which is like an hour away, going down there. So we ended up, then we used our own little app, and we basically went, four-wheeling based on some of the county roads that it took us through. But we eventually bypassed Arcadia and got to La Crosse. But who did you see while you were there?
Oh gosh, Tyler Hubbard. He was one of the front men from Florida Georgia Line, but he's off on his own. And then the headliner that night was One Republic.
Oh, did you see him?
So, yes.
How were they?
Very good. I didn't know about them before, so it was very good. And it was Emery's first music festival at 6 years old. So
that's cool.
I didn't think we were going to stay that late, but I said, do you want to stay or go? And she's like, stay. And she danced the night away.
Oh, that's so great. So much better than my first concert, which was Donnie and Marie. But that's another story for another time.
This was very family friendly, so that was kind of the nice thing.
Oh yeah, no, that is great. No, One Republic, again, here comes Grandpa telling the story. One of those instances where you hear a band on the radio and you go, hey, I've heard a couple of their things. I like them. I have to look them up. I'm like, oh, that's One Republic. Turns out I like some of their songs. Not everything is from the yacht rock era over there. Kristen's looking so dubious, like, oh, look, Grandpa discovered a band.
They are really nice. Brian Tedder does some really great work, and I enjoy them very much too.
But, that did happen to me with one other band that I'm kind of hesitant to bring up, but One Direction. Again, I'd always mock it when it came on TV. And then at one point, I don't know if it was Sherry or one of my daughters going, you like their songs. I'm like, what songs? And they told me about, Night Change and What Makes You Beautiful and Story of My Life. And I'm like, oh yeah, I like all those songs. Apparently I'm a Harry Styles fan and just didn't know it,
That is the yacht rock of the 2040s.
You know what? You are absolutely right. This is the yacht rock of the 2040s. And Emery's going to be like, oh yeah, I danced to it when I was, 5-6 years old at this festival.
Yep. We have pictures and video to remember.
We got to be getting near the end of the summer concert festival. Kristin, I know you were doing something on the Riverwalk recently. Is there any other events coming up for you before summer ends, or we're kind of getting near the end? Although I did notice, the Minnesota State Fair has some very big names compared to a lot of times they have just a whole bunch of D-listers, but they've got some big groups coming. Anything in Northeast Wisconsin?
No, well, I'm not paying attention because I'm not going to be there. And I have a giant case of FOMO.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. But it was Hamburger Fest over the weekend in Seymour.
Hamburger Fest?
Yeah, Seymour, the county seat of Outagamie County. It's the home of the hamburger. So that was fun.
So did you have a hamburger to celebrate?
I didn't go. Again, FOMO. I'm working.
Well, here's the one that is coming up, because we've already done Summerfest and we've done the Wisconsin State Fair. So folks here on the western side of the state, this lineup, and it starts August 24th and goes through Labor Day. So the 24th is the Black Keys. The 25th is the Chicks, formerly Dixie Chicks. The 26th is Keith Urban. The 27th is Boys to Men and Chaka Khan. And let's see, there is Brandy Carlisle and Winona Judd on the 29th. Duran Duran on Thursday, August 31st. Kristin, you around?
Yeah.
Are you available?
No, I'm going to a football game. It's the Gophers playing Nebraska that night. But I could. Now I'm having FOMO again.
Wait. You're going to a Gopher game, which is like a hop, skip, and a jump away from the state fair. You could do both.
I could do both. Could I do both?
You could totally do both.
Oh, man.
You just make an appearance at the one to say you've been there, and then you go crazy at the other one.
I could tailgate at the Gopher game, and then when the actual football game gets bad, I could go to the Duran Duran concert.
There, see?
Yeah.
See, we are the cure for your FOMO right here.
It's all coming together now.
Yep. And then the next night, September 1st, is the Jonas Brothers. And then they end on Labor Day with Blippi. And I don't know what Blippi is, but I know everyone with young kids goes crazy for Blippi. Oh, Salina's got the look again with the little kid.
Salina, with my niece Gracie, I know who Blippi is too.
Okay, can you two tell us who Blippi is?
He's just one of those kid's artist who is a goofy guy, and he's wearing like plaid
Orange.
and orange and these bright glasses, and he talks like this. I'm Blippi.
He kind of trots around and do. He's not, horrible. Like for
It's so great to see the look on Kristin's face, which is like this is not in my wheelhouse anymore. We don't have young kids around anymore,
I'm just thinking about like how everything comes around again. So this is like the Pee Wee Herman of the now.
Or, for us, it was Barney, the dinosaur. Raffi was the guy who did the music. So, there was something called the Teddy Bear Band, which turned out to be like they were a rock and roll band by night, but they realized where you can really make your money is during the day as a band for kids. So they'd make money as the Teddy Bear Band by day from desperate parents who just take my kids for a little while and entertain them. And then they go play at night.
We like Bluey. That's the new. That's the
Yes,
cartoon.
yeah.
Bluey's. I love Bluey. He's like for adults. At least I love Bluey, so we watch that. I'm
Oh yeah,
good with
the
watching
4-year-old
Bluey over and
grandson
over again.
is definitely big into Bluey that way. That's right. Kristin, you reminded me when I was talking about the Brewers game that there actually was a Packers exhibition game over the weekend. I caught little bits of it. Did you see any of it?
I didn't because I was working, but I heard good things. So everybody's been
saw good
wondering,
things,
like,
yeah.
what is the scoop with Jordan Love? Does he have what it takes? And it looks like he has a strong arm. It looks like he's confident. His team members believe in him. The Packers have kept him on the roster for a long time, for 3 years behind Aaron Rodgers. So there is something to this kid. I am really excited about what happened on Saturday and to see what happens next week.
And it wasn't just Jordan Love, and I'm blanking on the other backup quarterback's name, but he did really well. There's a new cornerback, Carrington Valentine, who also looked really good. Oh, it was Sean Clifford, I think, is the other. Yeah, is the other quarterback. I mean, again, I don't want to get ahead of myself. It's preseason, but you don't look at this group and go, oh, now Rodgers is gone and we're going to be terrible. It's like, no, we're going to have a puncher's chance here.
It feels like for the last couple of years, we've been like hanging on because we've been so close. And then we just like never quite even got where we thought we ought to get. But now it just feels like such a new day. And the potential is there. So, I mean, let's go Pack, go. 'Tis the season, guys.
And don't we have that case of Schadenfreude every time we see Aaron Rodgers because they're running New York Jets game promos, ceaselessly? And don't you kind of look at it and remember how badly Favre got beat up once he went to the Vikings, and the Jets before that? And, again, Aaron, thank you for your service, but we're really looking forward to that 0-3 start that the Jets are going to get this year,
We really appreciate the history. But like, have you ever seen the movie Miracle about the Miracle on Ice?
Sure.
And when Herb Brooks is the coach is picking his players, he's not picking all the stars. Yeah. He's picking the players that work well together because this is a team. This is not about showcasing one individual. And I feel like what Green Bay has now is a team.
Very much so. Yes. So, all right. Well, Kristin, safe travels. Hope to see you around Lake Wissota here when you come steal my pontoon.
Old Fashions tonight on the deck. See you there.
Thanks, Salina. Talk to you more later.
All right.
When we come back, Civic Media's Terry Bell and 3 things you should know, including whatever the hell this song is. We'll be back. You're up north.
What you are.
Twinkle, twinkle.
That's so great.
It was Blippi.
I know. Of course it was Blippi.
Oh.
All right. You guys, that was a lot of fun. Let's do that again sometime.
That was fun.
All right.
See you next Monday, but I'll also see you on Thursday.
All right. And safe travels, and maybe see you tonight on your way through.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.
Terry, can you join the studio?
Bye.
How do I do that?
There should just be a button for enter studio on the screen.
There you are. All right.
Wow, they really cranked those lights bright in there.
I was gonna say, after my week there, did they realize maybe we should do something with these?
I think they did that for Max Inc. And now
Oh, sure. Yes.
we can't change it.
Okay.
Or at least I can't, but I'll figure it out.
Okay.
Wait.
All right. And Salina, if you don't need anything else, you can just pop out of the studio, and then I'll chat with you on Slack a little later.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
And Terry, we can hear you, right?
I hope so.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Well, that tune tells us Terry Bell is here with 3 things to know to start the week. Terry is the news director for the Civic Media Radio Network. Terry, good morning. Hope you had a good weekend.
Morning. I did. I had a very nice weekend. How was yours?
Very relaxing. We had a couple of weeks with kids and grandkids here, and then I had a couple of weeks with trips down to Milwaukee and getting sick somewhere in the middle of that. So we had the laziest day here in a long time. Yesterday it was cloudy all day. Never rained during the day, but just so gray and cloudy. So we didn't feel like, oh, let's go on the pontoon or let's do all kinds of yard work. We just settled down and took it easy, and you got to take those now and then.
Those are important days to have. Don't ever feel bad about doing that. That's important.
Yeah, no, not a bit. So 3 things to know to start the week. The first is just downright tragic, but we are going to continue hearing more about the wildfire that just decimated part of Hawaii.
Yeah, when I popped in this morning, I took another check of the death toll, which now has risen to 96. It was in the upper 80s yesterday, so they're finding more victims, and obviously that's tragic. 2,200 buildings.
Upwards of like 1,000 missing. They fear
That could very well.
Yeah, that doesn't portend well. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes. You can expect that number to get higher. At the moment, 96. 2,200 buildings and other structures damaged. This is Friday's numbers, so that I'm sure has gone up. 6 fires burning in Maui and the Big Island, but officials say the Lahaina fire is now 85% contained. So progress, of course, but my gosh, I've been hearing a lot from people who just love that part of the world and how much they've been affected by it. And there was even a bit of a celebrity social media controversy. The singer Stevie Nicks put out what we used to call a tweet that people felt was a little self-involved and tone deaf, but she spent more time than anything else on that social media post talking about how her niece had lost her vacation home. And that didn't go over well with a lot of folks.
Oh, yeah. You kind of want to be a bit more mindful of, people who were, killed or lost a lot more than a vacation home. But, I'll go ahead and add something a little controversial as well. And again, take nothing away from the victims, but it seems like a lot of media want to dwell on, warning systems and things like that. I would like to think, if there's a wildfire in your area, that you would be especially attuned to changing conditions. Now, it's even tougher on an island. There's not any kind of an easy escape route, but given the drought conditions that were going on there, I'm sure, we hear this about the West Coast as well. You just can't take your eye off the ball for a moment when there's a wildfire anywhere near your area. And it would clearly caught a whole lot of people off guard the way that these things, they spread that fast. And we know from the old Peshtigo fire and plenty of others, it doesn't take much for those things to just explode.
And I think that's what caught people so off guard, because there were people who were not even aware there was a situation at all until it was, almost too late.
Yeah,
I
I
can
mean, you look
imagine
at the
how.
same thing happened with the campfire in California, which was the previous highest death toll of 86 people. Just the speed with which these things can travel is just another sad cautionary tale for folks keeping future incidents in mind. So again, our hearts go out to those folks for what they've had to endure, and certainly for the rebuilding process that will have to get going at some point as well. A little closer to home, second topic that we're going to talk about is a major change in the liquor laws that govern everything in Wisconsin, from production to distribution to what you can buy.
There's going to be a hearing on the bill this week, I think in the Senate. The bill originated in the Assembly. And yeah, big changes to the alcohol buying and selling industry in Wisconsin. We've had for 90 years what's called the three-tiered system, where producers deal with wholesalers who then deal with retailers. And this was set up to prevent against monopolies back at that time. But things have changed. So say you're a brewery or a winery or a distillery. Well, you're the producer and you'd like to be the retailer too. But apparently that gets tricky. And there is a move now to modernize this system, which I think a lot of people, there's a lot of bipartisan support for that idea. The only thing that really causes a lot of controversy is the new restrictions that this bill would put on wedding barns, which are not required to get a liquor license. Typically, it's the people who are renting out the barns who bring their own liquor. But under this bill, wedding barns would be treated more like barns or other event venues where they have to have a license. And the owners of the wedding barns say this would be too big of a financial burden. It'll put so many of us out of business if this comes to pass. So that'll be the interesting thing to see how that plays out.
Yeah, because again, is it one of the things where they're going to furnish or have it furnished? It's almost like the whole thing about the social media companies. Are you a platform or are you a publisher? And in many ways, you're a little bit of both. But a key part of this liquor law overhaul is that there will be a new office created within the Department of Revenue. Right now, there really isn't a single entity, and so there's a lot of confusion. So maybe the creation of this new office will help bring some clarity to that wedding barn issue. Certainly hope that they do, because it's a long overdue overhaul of these liquor laws. Third thing to know, President Biden coming to Milwaukee tomorrow, and that's no accident.
Yeah, no, it is not. It's he's here for a couple of reasons. One, I think he's, this is kind of part of the gamesmanship of politics. We've been talking about the Republican debate coming up in Milwaukee next week. Well, the president is going to come in, and now we're talking about him for a couple of days. And that is, of course, by design. Also, not only is that Republican debate coming up next week, but this week also marks the first anniversary of the Inflation Reduction Act. And the president is all too happy to come to an important swing state like Wisconsin to talk about all the benefits that that law has brought to us in the past year.
Well, it's something that we have really been banging the drum for, certainly over the past couple of weeks, is the disconnect between what voters do and don't know about, Biden's agenda. That Democrats have never really excelled at tooting their own horn. They're always moving on to the next policy debate rather than trying to basically win the PR war over what was in the past. And so it's nice that the Biden folks are, embracing the title of Bidenomics and trying to make things happen with it. But, they have to be aggressive if it's going to be successful. So, I got to salute whoever decided, let's send the president to Milwaukee, 8 days before the Republican debate. It's a good crafty move on their part. So for these stories and much more, follow the Civic Media News team with news, including right here at the top of the hour, all across the Civic Media Radio Network, led by News Director Terry Bell. Terry, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you, Pat.
Hey, coming up tomorrow, State Representative Christina Shelton is going to join me. She and Francesca Hong, shall we say, infiltrated a right-wing legislators conference. And so they'll tell us more about what's being planned on the agenda from the conservative side of the political aisle. Thanks for joining us. We enjoyed the downloads and all of you joining us live. Have a wonderful Monday. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning, 6 a.m.